one.
Hi everybody and welcome for joining. Thank you so much for joining Professional Beauty's Virtual Beauty Week. We've got a stellar lineup for you guys again today. My name's Amanda. I'm Deputy Editor of the Professional Beauty team, and I'm joined by the lovely Jennifer Jane today. She's a hair and makeup artist who specialises particularly in bridal work, and we're going to be talking today about how self-employed makeup artists can prepare themselves to get back to work after coronavirus. I think this is a really poignant topic at the moment. I know there's so many self-employed workers out there at the moment who can't work, and they are wondering about how they should be planning to get back to normal when things start to settle down a bit. So Jen, it would be great if you could tell us a little bit about how coronavirus has impacted your business and how you're feeling about things at the moment.
Corona really, for me, I mean, it stopped absolutely everything in its tracks, and therefore it stopped all of my income. How I'm feeling about that, a little bit rough around the edges, to be honest with you. It's taken quite a bit to, quite a bit of getting used to. I've not felt particularly motivated to do much, but I'm kind of coming out the other side of that now, and I'm thinking, right, what can I do? How can I utilize this time to better my business and to move forward? So when all of this is over, that can be done sort of seamlessly.
I think it must be really hard for people at the moment to try and stay positive, because there's so much negativity, isn't there, at the moment on the news and stuff. I mean, how are you keeping in contact with clients at the moment during this time of closure? And, how are they feeling about things?
I think, especially with what I do, because I work in bridal, you've got to think, even though you have lost or postponed your wedding, they've had to postpone theirs. So, and this is the whole wedding. This is like the most important day of their life. So they're probably going to be feeling a lot worse than you are right now. So it's good to sort of keep in contact with them, send them an email, give them a phone call, let them know you're thinking of them. Offer them support in any which way you can, because trust me, it will pay dividends later on down the line.
And how are you keeping yourself financially strong as a self-employed worker during this time?
That's a very good question, and a kind of a tricky one to answer, because as I've mentioned, my income has frozen. It's completely stopped, and of course I've got outgoings and this, that and the other, but cash is king, and it's important to sort of conserve what it is you have got. I mean, I personally have gone through all of my bank accounts and seen anything that I'm subscribed to that I don't need to be anymore, any memberships of anything that I could forego, because a £9.99 year or a £15 there over the course of a month and a few months does add up. So it does make a difference to review all your outgoings and see where you can improve.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable advice. And obviously the government's launched a scheme for the self-employed. What do you make of it?
I mean, it took a long time for them to launch that. So that was quite a stressful couple of weeks there, as I was waiting for some information to be released. But I do think in all that it's quite fair what they have implemented. However, you're not going to get anything until June, which is a little bit frustrating. So I've gone down the universal credit route, but I know, as well as a lot of other people know, it is a nightmare to apply. It is, and a quick hack actually. If you haven't yet signed up, or you're in the process of doing it and you're finding it very frustrating, I ended up filling in all my details between about 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, when there wasn't 100,000 people on the website doing the same thing. But it takes perseverance. So if between now and June you want to go down that route, then I would definitely advise trying at least to sign up for that.
I think that's a great top tip, to do it at a time when most people would be asleep, because you're right. I think those systems are completely overloaded at the moment, aren't they?
And it did take me about 3 evenings to actually do it, because you enter a bit of information and then a pop-up comes up saying, you know, that the system's overwhelmed or there's lots of people online, and it stops you from actually putting all your details in a seamless manner. So you do have to go back to it quite a few times, but it saves your information. You know, it goes back to where you were before. So keep trying, you will get there.
And do you have any tips on how self-employed workers or, you know, makeup artists should be managing their cash and business at the moment? I mean, apart from the other things like you said about cancelling any subscriptions that you have that you don't necessarily need, do you have any other kind of sage advice that you could pass on?
Yeah, I mean, we've all got outgoings. So if you've got impending payments to make to whomever, to your mobile phone company, to your bank, whatever, you know, don't be embarrassed, because we're all in this situation together. You can call them and try and defer payment. You can perhaps ask for a payment plan, just so you are sort of, you know, paying off bits as and when you can. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So instead of feeling overwhelmed and like, oh my God, how am I going to manage the situation? Talk to people. I think you'll be quite surprised at their response. So it's worth doing.
And obviously, this is such a stressful time at the moment, especially for self-employed workers. How are you keeping yourself mentally healthy at the moment?
That's a very good question. I think it's very important, even though we're all working from home, to get up, get out of bed, make your bed, and have a morning routine, whether that's, you know, go out for your daily bit of fitness or whatever. You need to get up, put your proper clothes on, don't slouch around the house in loungewear, because that isn't very good for the mind. I don't think that makes you productive and want to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, put your makeup. I put my makeup on every day and put my regular clothes on, because if I didn't, I think my motivation would really lapse. And I don't think as people we can really afford to have our motivation lapse right now. We really need to be on top of our game and see our forwards. So I think that's really important, is the morning routine for sure.
And, you know, how can MUAs work on their business during this time of closure, and what kind of things should they be working on?
I mean, there's an awful lot as self-employed people and makeup artists that we need to consider. I mean, first thing really, I mean, I because of this time, I've, you know, had the time to research and look into my marketing and my website, and I discovered there was a fault on my website and something wasn't working. So I thought, oh, okay, well, I've got the time to now look into it and fix it. So I think, you know, your website, your social media, updating everything, making sure everything's current. I mean, even looking through your computer at all your old files, see if there's anything that you can repurpose, organize everything, put it into files so you know what you've got where. Take the time to learn a new skill. I mean, I wasn't particularly good at doing Instagram stories, but I've now figured out how to do that so it looks nice. And, you know, it's just little tweaks and little things you can do because you have got the time. I mean, we're all so big that some things fall by the wayside, don't they? But if you get your mind in the right frame, you know, dissect your business, go back through it step by step. So it's your marketing, your social media, you've got terms and conditions, or, you know, make sure they're up to date. It's a real good sort of cleansing opportunity for your business.
So I guess it's just a real time that people can use to upskill and educate themselves so that when they are ready to get back out there and work, they've sort of, you know, been learning all during this time and have new things that they can show clients.
Well, exactly. I mean, YouTube is fantastic for learning new skills, as is Udemy. Actually, I've done a couple of short courses on Udemy, which were great just to keep on top of current skills and different techniques and different looks and all the rest of it. I mean, I'm consistently learning anyway, but you've got time. You've got time now, and you can learn a new skill, even if it's nothing to do with makeup, and you want to upskill in another area, or you want to look into, you know, perhaps offering manicures and pedicures or hair or whatever. If it's something that you're interested in, then now is the time.
And I know when we spoke a little bit before this webinar, you said as well it's a great time to collaborate with other artists. Are there any kind of groups that you know on social media that are particularly good for makeup artists where they can find some support?
That's a good question. I haven't actually looked into the support side of things as a makeup artist yet, because I've kind of been busying myself with the websites and this, that, and the other. But a couple of chats with some fellow makeup artists on Instagram. They're like, right, do you want to team up and do an Instagram live together, or should we do a Facebook live together? Whether that's doing a makeup demonstration or starting a chat group about how we can support each other, and offering advice and ideas on how we can all move forward together.
Yeah. So they were all of my questions that I had for Jennifer. So if you do have any questions for her, just pop it in the chat box and I'll make sure to ask her. And we have had a couple come through already, so I'll just run through them. Jennifer, one person's asked, what kind of content do you think works best on social media at the moment? So the best makeup content.
That is a very good question. And it's one that has stalled me in the first couple of weeks of this happening, because you've got to be sensitive to what's actually going on around you. But at the same time, you've got to keep the momentum going of your social media. I don't think being overly promotional is going to be so much in good taste, but maybe repurposing something from a shoot, and you can say, Throwback Thursday, when times were a little bit better, or something like this, and then offer some sort of caption that ties it into to what's going on now, but be sympathetic to what is going on now. Because I think if we're too in people's faces saying, oh, look at my fabulous feed and how amazing I am, I don't think that's the way to go. But you do need to keep it updated. So I mean, I've thought about personally doing some images and some makeup looks for, how to prepare your face for a video call, or, tips for skin for a post-corona beauty or something like that. Little tips, and something that's can be, shareable and offers value, I think is the best way forward.
And what about for live content as well? Because obviously there's a lot of people who are doing demos and stuff at the moment. Do you have any advice on what would work best for Instagram Lives?
Again, I think something that is of value, like how to prepare your face for a video conference or a virtual date. I think that would be great. Or really tips on working from home and how to stay positive. I mean, we're all in this situation together. We've not created this. It's very much been put upon us. So I think if we can create something that's likable, shareable, adds value, then that's the way to go.
And obviously people are at home a lot more than they normally would be because of the situation. So how often do you recommend that people should be posting on social media?
Do you know what? I personally think it's okay to do a post twice a week. We're told, oh, we should be posting twice a day and all the rest of it, but I just don't think that it would be in good taste to be doing that right now, unless it's really something that offers an awful lot of advice and, is helping people as a group. Or, if you're going to be launching some sort of course or something that people can join in on, I don't think it would be ideal to post more than twice a week. But that's just me. I mean, it depends on what you're used to, but that's just my personal opinion.
And we've had another question from a viewer who asked, what was the name of the Upskill feature you mentioned? Was it Udemy?
Yes, it is Udemy. Now, funnily enough, you should mention that I'm just literally putting the final touches on an introduction to bridal makeup course, which will be going on Udemy. There's also group that you could put something on. But if you've got content and you've got something of value to share, go on YouTube, find out how to create a Udemy course. You've got the time to do it, you've got the resources, you've got your laptop, and I bet you've got a lot of content that you could use. It's worth putting something together, no matter if you're a hairdresser or a makeup artist or a nail technician or a lashes technician. You know, you've got a skill that people would like to learn. So that might be a way to earn money in these very tricky times.
And for people who don't know what Udemy is it a website platform that just specializes in courses for makeup, or is it broader?
You can go onto Udemy and learn absolutely anything about any subject. If you want to learn how to play the guitar, you can do so. If you want to learn how to bake cakes, you know, play the keyboard, it's not just makeup. So if you do have another skill that you think could offer some value, I mean, I'd like to learn how to play the guitar, but I don't have one, but can't even go out and buy one. But yeah, if you've got a skill, put something together, promote it, and who knows, maybe you could earn yourself a few extra pounds.
That's brilliant, I think, as an idea for keeping yourself busy, but also knowledge sharing with other people in the industry. Had another question, actually, because obviously sustainability has been a really core issue for the beauty industry and the hair industry for the past year or so. And we've got an MUA asking, do you have any tips for how makeup artists can be more eco-friendly or make eco-friendly swaps on their tools?
Yes. I mean, I've got, my brush kit is a mixture of synthetic and animal hair. The best way you can start to interject something that is a little bit more eco-friendly is have less of the animal hair and swap them for vegan brands. And with your makeup as well. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't sort of crossed that bridge yet because I've got an awful lot of kit and it's not all eco-friendly, but I'm not going to stop using it yet to go down that road. But it is something that I would like to look into more. But I think it would start with your brushes and then obviously work backwards from there and see your kit. But, you know, kits are expensive, so it's not something that you can literally do overnight, and especially not right now when we're all a little back for cash. But I think now is a good opportunity, if you do want to go down that road, to research your products, look online, see what's on offer. There'll be lots on YouTube on this subject. So yeah, that's probably the best way to start. But I think in terms of going fully down that road, unless you've started from that angle with everything that you've purchased, I guess bit by bit, really.
And we have a question from Alice, who's said, would you recommend paid promoting of post on Instagram? I'm guessing this is obviously post-corona, but have you ever paid to promote posts on the social platform, and would you recommend it?
I have. I've launched a company called the Bridal Makeup Academy, and I've suffered from this because I was trying to fill the next course, which starts on the 27th of April.
Oh gosh.
But I thought, you know, yeah, so it's really scuppered me, but I've not let it beat me. Still doing a lot of promotional things for that, but I was paying for Facebook advertising. I hadn't paid for Instagram because I think they both work at the same time, don't they? But it wasn't programmed through Instagram. I would recommend it, but I would also recommend really knowing what you're doing, because it can be a little bit like hope marketing. You've got to understand the analytics, you've got to understand targeting, depending on what it is that you want to achieve and what it is that you're offering. If you're going to do it, set yourself a budget. It will be capped at that point, so it will go out there to the big wide web and it will do its thing. But, you know, just do it in small chunks. Don't set a limit of 500 quid. Not that I did, but it was a couple of £100. And you just think, oh, well, I've just wasted my time now because Corona's here. But I have tried it. I do think there is some value in it, but learn about it, brush up on it, know how to read the analytics, know about the targeting, and have a little play with it, but just don't spend too much money, especially not now.
And I guess now's a great time for people to actually learn a bit more about the analytics and how those kind of things work, seeing as they're at home.
It's complicated.
Because
it's not a straight thing, and go down the Facebook business page route and all the rest of it, and it is complicated, but you've got time now, so spend the time wisely, learn about these things and how the insides of your business can work and what you can do to make it better. I mean, I know it's awful this time, but we've got time. I mean, I never have time to do anything. So, even though I've got absolutely zero cash right now, I'm grateful of the fact that I've got time to research all of this. And, you know, in one respect, it's exciting because it's a challenge, don't get me wrong, but it's exciting. You know, when this has calmed down, you've got to hit the ground running. So if you can do all the research and look into things and maintain your business and make it a little bit better, then when we are finally allowed out, you know, you're up to speed and you're ready to roll. I think if you wallow too much, for want of a better expression, if you just think, oh, you know, woe is me, it's going to get your head, and it's not going to make you productive or motivated or want to do anything at all. So I think it's really important that you do just keep on top of all of that.
And we've got a question from Isabel. She said, I've arrived in London 6 months ago. Before coming here, I was self-employed makeup artist and a beauty therapist. What do you suggest that I do to get into the makeup market here, especially because I love doing weddings and editorial photo shoots?
Sorry, can you just repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
Oh, no worries. Isabel said that she arrived in London 6 months ago, and before coming here, she was a self-employed makeup artist and beauty therapist. She's asking for advice of how to get into the makeup market here in the UK, and I guess especially wedding and editorial work.
Okay. I think the first thing you can do is join some groups, makeup artist groups on Facebook and Instagram. And if you've got a LinkedIn profile, that's quite handy. I mean, not so much for makeup artists, but at least you can sort of join beauty groups and all the rest of it. You need to start building a network, really, of like-minded people, like photographers, hair artists, this, that, and the other. I'm sure as a self-employed makeup artist, you will have content already, but I found that when I was starting, you know, and especially when you're going to a new place, you need to build that network quite quickly. So I have found that I've done in the early stages quite a lot of collaborations and sort of free shoots and this. That's to get the relationships going and the content going and see who's who. And you know, I think that's a good way to start. It's going to be hard to come to the UK and go straight into paid work because you do to start those relationships. I mean, you're probably an amazing makeup artist and you can just, you know, join an agency and perhaps start getting work that way. But I think it is about networking and creating those relationships from the start, really.
And we've had a question about bridal work. So it says, for brides that have postponed to 2021 but had their trials very early, would you recommend me offering another session to refresh and go through their makeup look again?
Do you know what? I think that would be a really nice thing to do, and I think they would really appreciate that. Their brain is just knocked for six right now, and they're just going to be thinking, you know what? They may well change their mind. I mean, brides do. They may well change their mind on what they want. I think it is a good idea to have a refresh. The question is, do you charge for it or not? Because I personally probably. But we all need to earn money. So, I mean, I guess you could like offer it and see what the sort of response is from that. But then I think it would be a nice thing to do if you could do it complimentary, but I appreciate we wanted to earn money. But yes, in answer to that, I do think that would be a good idea, not only for the bride, but for you as well, because you will have a photograph, you will have a face chart of what you've done. But I think to make connection again, to reconnect with them, and just to put them at ease and to make them feel a little bit loved and appreciated, it would be a nice thing to do. Yeah.
And one viewer mentioned that obviously you said earlier it's important to keep your website updated. They just wanted to know what kind of things you were doing on your website.
Okay, so I've got two websites. I've got my jjmakeup.com one. Do not look, because it's got faults on it, which I discovered 2 days ago. I have been watching videos on YouTube about WordPress, because WordPress can be a little bit complicated. So I've figured out what the issues are, and I'm going into the back end of it and making those tweaks. So that's on a fixing things point of view. In terms of other angles, I mean, we've all got content. Is the content fresh? Is it up to date? Can you upload any new photographs? Can you get any testimonials from your clients, whether they be photographers or brides? Can you add those in? Can you write a blog post? Maybe, well, I mean, if you could write something that is fitting around Corona but not make it too doom and gloom, then go ahead. As I said before, prepare your face for a video conference or a virtual. Write a blog post, take a couple of shots on your phone, post it up. It keeps everything current, and it's also really good for SEO. So positive steps. Oops.
Oh, Jen. Oh,
no, yeah, my battery.
Well, I was going to say that's actually all that we have time for today. So that's perfect timing before your phone cuts out. But Jen, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out today and to talk to our audience about this. I think you've shared some really valuable information. And if anybody else does have any other questions for Jen, send them to us and we'll pass them on and we'll see if we can get an answer back from you. But otherwise, thank you so much, Jen. Yeah. Really appreciate it. And guys, don't forget, we have a few other sessions today. There's one, I think, about nutrition. There's some others. So don't forget to go to the Professional Beauty website and click on that Virtual Beauty Week tab, where you can find all the sessions listed and you can find all the links. But thank you so much, Jen. And I hope everything works out for you. And hopefully I'll get to see you face to face at some point in the future at some event.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jen. See you later, everybody. Bye.